Assalamualaikum. Welcome to the International e-Content Development Competition eCONDEV2021 closing ceremony. On behalf of the organizer, I would like to extend a warm welcome and gratitude to all participants, juries, and everyone involved in making eCONDEV 2021 a success. Before moving on with the event, I would like to invite Encik Azmizan Mazlan to lead the Doa recitation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, hanya padamu sahaja kami panjangkan kesyukuran atas segala rahmat dan berkat-Mu. Bersempena dengan Majlis International e-Content Development Competition 2021 ini, kami memohon inayah dan taufik-Mu, kurniakanlah kesejahteraan dan kebahagiaan kepada kami. Kami memohon kepadamu agar Engkau berkatilah majlis ini dengan limpah rahmat-Mu. Semoga segalanya berjalan lancar sehingga ke akhirnya. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. Walhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Thank you, Encik Azmizan. Ladies and gentlemen, eCONDEV is an annual event organized by the Institute of Continuing Education and Professional Studies, ISEPS UITM. The competition aims to provide a platform for academics to share their ideas and innovation to improve teaching and learning practices. eCONDEV 2021 officially opened on the 23rd of August 2021, and the judging process continues from the 24th August till 26th of August 2021. This year, participants were given a chance to present their products in front of the juries. This is to provide transparency and ensure all necessary information was conveyed directly from the participant to the jury. Over 350 products compete in 4 categories: Massive Open Online Course, MOOC, the Open Educational Resources, OER, Product Pitching, and our latest addition, the Micro-Credential Competition. In this year's competition, we have expanded by introducing the student category for OER and Product Pitching. This is to allow students to share their products and ideas on teaching and learning development. To officially kickstart our program, let us hear the welcoming address by Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Azizul Halim bin Yahya, the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute of Continuing Education and Professional Studies, ISEPS.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang berbahagia Profesor T.S. Dr. Hajah Roziah Muhammad Jano, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Academic and International, exercising the function of the Vice-Chancellor, Deans and Rector, to all the e-learning coordinators from the faculties and campuses, and to our distinguished guests and participants, salam sejahtera and good morning to all. It is with great pride and pleasure that I welcome all the participants to the 5th National Virtual e-Content Development Competition 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, the developments of massive open online courses have seen a surge in enrollment since we fell into pandemic in March 2020. For example, based on 2020 Impact Report by Coursera, which is an online platform that offers MOOC, claimed that its enrollment have skyrocketed and was 640% higher from March to April than during the same period last year, growing from 1.6 million to 10.3 million users. Similarly, Udemy 2020 Learning Report published by Udemy Research recorded that the enrollment at Udemy, another MOOC provider, was up over 400% during the pandemic. This surge, ladies and gentlemen, corresponds to lockdown across the world as the pandemic started to rise. Another trend in recent years is the rapid growth in micro-credential modular learning unit that can be combined for qualifications like master degrees. Full online degree programs are also booming. This data pinpoint to us that there will be a continued shift toward this type of courses as the pandemic forces educators and students alike to rethink the risks associated with in-person instruction. Ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic is refocusing attention on the opportunities for MOOC and micro-credential to democratize higher education by making higher education more accessible to anyone in the world. With the catalyst of the pandemic, the full potential of MOOCs and micro-credential may be realized. Ladies and gentlemen, the objective, these eCONDEV events are reckoned to be complementary to the current happening and development in the online learning arena. We aspire to elevate the quality of content being used in teaching and learning to nurture an interest and encourage lecturers to develop e-content and subsequently provide a platform for them to share their best practices through the e-content that they have developed. A glance through the list of presentations for the past few days revealed the amazing diversity of this application. Ladies and gentlemen, academic gatherings such as these provide valuable opportunities for practitioners, experts, and industry specialists to share experiences. I am grateful to the many expert judges who have come to share their knowledge and evaluate the e-content product in the past week. Thank you very much for your contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, let me again warmly welcome all the participants and their representatives to eCONDEV 2021. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Azizul. Indeed, we hope eCONDEV will continuously gain traction and success in the years to come. And now, allow me to call upon Yang Berbahagia Professor Teknologis Dr. Hajah Roziah Muhammad Janur, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Academic and International, exercising the function of the Vice-Chancellor of UiTM to deliver the opening speech and officiate the closing ceremony of eCONDEV 2021.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Azizul Halim Yahya, Chief Executive Officer, Institute of Continuing Education and Professional Studies, ISEPS, University Technology Mara, UiTM. To all deans and rectors, e-learning coordinators, distinguished guests and participants. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to join you today as we applaud all participants for the effort everyone has put into the International E-Content Development Competition, eCONDEV 2021. I am excited to hear about your work and how your ideas will contribute to building future-ready graduates in our society. At UiTM, we are proud that eCONDEV continues to be an effective platform to showcase our massive online open courses, MOOC, micro-credentials, open education resources, OER, created by educators and even students, and it has now become a mainstay of UiTM's events calendar. This 5th edition of eCONDEV has gathered 360 participants from IPTA and IPTS around the country. I am told that this is the highest number of participation that we have recorded, and it certainly indicates the importance of e-learning materials among educators and students. Ladies and gentlemen, the development of MOOC started back in September 2015 when the Ministry of Higher Education announced the launch of 60 massive open online courses offered by 20 public universities in Malaysia. All the courses are now available for free and are open for student enrollment at the respective universities, as well as made available to the public. The courses encompass a wide selection of topics ranging from business, engineering, entrepreneurship, finance, healthcare, language, technology, and many more. To support MOHI's vision, UiTM, through ISEPs, organized eCONDEV to inspire a more creative and innovative culture to improve teaching and learning. Besides new and innovative MOOC, micro-credentials, and OER, eCONDEV also includes idea pitching. It is hoped that events such as this will continue to benefit both students and faculty members in line with the latest development in education technology. Ladies and gentlemen, the past year and a half have been challenging, with many interactions and activities moving online. UiTM has made commendable efforts to ensure a smooth transition of teaching and learning delivery through open distance learning, ODL, in spite of the pandemic. The university will continue to host eCONDEV to support and encourage academics to progress and advance in this academic endeavor towards elevating the quality of contents that are used in the teaching and learning process. Specifically, our goal is to consolidate and update existing e-content materials of the university. Today, we recognize the efforts of eCONDEV participants who have stepped up to make an impact to the community even though we are socially distanced. I congratulate you on these admirable efforts, and I look forward to seeing even more of your ideas come to fruition. I hope that even after this competition, you will continue to contribute proactively to improve the realm of academia. Once again, my heartiest congratulations to ISEPs and all participants for the success of this year's competition. On that note, and in the name of Allah, most beneficent, most merciful, I hereby officiate the International E-Content Development Competition, eCONDEV 2021. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now. We will begin with announcing the Gold Award recipients for eCONDEV 2021. Gold Award recipients: MOOC competition, ID 140 Systematic Literature Review for All, a cool MOOC. ID 44 Introductory CAID. ID 255 Geotechnical Engineering. ID 219 My Public Finance MOOC. ID 109 Penyusuan Susu Ibu, Pembelajaran Kendiri, Breastfeeding, Self-Learning. ID 59 HTH 558 Professional Etiquette for Hoteliers. ID 92 Value-Based Education in MPU 4 Social Innovation Project. ID 176 Freehand and Perspective Drawings. ID 158 Cancer Chemotherapeutics. ID 350 OSH Industrial Hygiene Made Easy. ID 210 Urogynecology for Medical Students. ID 207 Legal Studies in Construction. ID 157 Food, Nutrition and Health. ID 182 Drive Your Career, Ignite Your Future. ID 29 Banking Operations. ID 245 Introduction to Funduscopy and Fundus Photography. ID 45 Visual Art Virtual Classroom. ID 64 Learning and Information for Naval Reservists. ID 51 Computing Project Management. ID 10 MOOC ASC 400. ID 35 Halal Talents in Halal Certification Standard through MOOC-based learning methods. ID 128 Financial and Investor Communications. ID 150 Pharmacognosy. ID 27 PSA Inverted Classroom. ID 306 Office Administration 1. ID 54, Finance. ID 142, Organizational Behavior and Leadership. ID 40, Fixed Partial Dental Prostheses, FPDP. ID 311, Orthodontic Removable Appliance. ID 192, Project Management from Basic to Industrial, Business Project Management. ID 86, MOOC OBM 260, Learning OB through Gartner's 9-condition learning theory. ID 314, an extensive online classroom of interactive multimedia course for lecture sessions, lab tutorials, and project exhibition using UFuture as MOOC platform. ID 99, Occupational Therapy Interventions in Psychiatric Conditions. ID 80, Energy and Computing. ID 37, MOOC CPU 554, Penghayatan Etika dan Peradaban 2 sebagai platform sehenti penerapan etika dan peradaban. ID 34, MOOC BAP 460, Arabic Language and IT. ID 203, Structural Mechanics. ID 309, Asas Pengucapan Awam. ID 197, Biochemistry and Molecular Medicine Practicals for Preclinical Medical Students. ID 39, Pemantapan CPU 101 melalui kaedah pembelajaran MOOC. ID 320, Time Series and Forecasting. ID 125, MOOC ACC 406. ID 252, Numerical Analysis and Finite Elements Method for Engineers. ID 103, Law of Evidence 2 MOOC. ID 267, MOOC of Food Hygiene and Sanitation. ID 264, E-Business for Undergraduates. ID 66, HTP 391 MOOC, Industrial Training. ID 178, Industrial Management. ID 56, FET 484, Intermediate Printmaking. ID 155, Foundation Arabic for Tourism 2. ID 159, Land Administration. ID 263, eCONDEV of Mechanics and Materials Laboratory for Massive Open Online Course. ID 310, Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. ID 260, Complex Analysis with Computational Application. ID 147, Pengajaran dan Pembelajaran Akidah Islamiah ISC 100 secara atas talian. ID 266, Outcome-Based Education. Gold Award Recipients. Micro-Credential Competition. ID 223, Micro-Credential Course, Guide to Good Prescribing Skills. ID 236, Technical Report Writing for Civil Engineers. ID 278, Introduction to Risk Management. ID 129, Micro-Credential, Building Development Laws and Legislations. ID 194, Fundamentals of Digital Marketing. ID 36, HFIMS, Applications of Pedagogy Principles in Fiqh Management for Sport. ID 9, Handbook for Financial Planning and Analysis. Gold Award Recipients. OER Competition, Student Category. ID 333, Active Lifestyle with Boxing. ID 358, Sound Absorption. ID 303, Movement of Water through Plant System. ID 301, Pineapple Peel Waste as Pollen Substitute. ID 71, Sampling Techniques Guide. ID 361, Softball. Gold Award Recipients. OER Competition, Educator Category. ID 30, Let's Learn About Chirality. ID 307, Flit Classroom on Microsoft Teams, ODL of Process Integration for Chemical Engineering Student. ID 276, Padlet for Management Information Systems course. ID 353 AIO CPM platform. ID 251 Engineering Laboratory Virtual Delivery of Teaching and Practices. ID 246 E-Moni Party Effective Monitoring of Students' Participation via Google Classroom. ID 228 Dr. Anne Scout. ID 216 Kemahiran Membuat Keputusan. ID 21 Orthopedic Conditions for Allied Health Science Student. ID 196 Remotely Operated Open-Ended Laboratory Activity for Chemical Engineering Students. ID 14 Clinical Chemistry in Laboratory Medicine. ID 284 Interactive Blood Pressure Class. ID 28 Functional Assessment for Clients with Psychiatric Rehabilitation. ID 23 Self-Assessed Online Listening Test. Learn and practice listening skills independently. ID 212 Fun with Math. ID 175 Remote Learning in the Time of COVID-19. The experiential learning-based statistics and applications via Microsoft Suite. ID 287 Modules of Crop Protection. ID 43 Building an Alternative Online Formative Assessment Framework using Iowa mobile platform during the COVID-19. ID 15 EZICN Intensive Care Nursing Made Easy One-Stop Center. Let's explore together. ID 95 Ecology X Insights to Industrial Ecology. ID 127 MyRe Chest and Ribs X-ray. ID 81 MedLab Talks Digital Education Practices Podcast. ID 143 Microbiology Laboratory Practical at your fingertips. ID 172 High Speed Rail Malaysia Singapore. ID 239 Adjective and Noun. ID 213 E Advanced Calculus. ID 180 Buying Things in Mandarin. Process of item selection, bargaining and paying. ID 271 A real-life video of living with osteoarthritis. ID 98, Principles of Food Preparation. ID 257, E-Bridging Modules for Fundamental Engineering Seminars. ID 85, Ophthalmic Dispensing Made Easy, ODME. ID 305, Molecular Diffusion and Convection Mass Transfer. ID 18, Psych Essential YouTube channel, an online resource for health psychology. ID 107, ECN, Early Childhood Nutrition. ID 355, PowerPoint Training Guide. ID 135, Interactive Materials Preparation with Genially and Open Learning. ID 296, ChemRex Synchronous Planning. ID 60, The Crunchers Self-Study Assistant. ID 187, Aplikasi Etika dalam ICT, Komunikasi, Gamification, Interactive Based Learning. ID 211, The Law on Domestic Violence in Malaysia. Best Micro-Credential Award. Social Science and Humanities. ID 36, HFIMS, Application of Hutagoji Principles in Fifth Management for Sport. Best Micro-Credential Award, Science and Technology. ID 223, Micro-Credential Course, Guide to Good Prescribing Skill. Best Micro-Credential Award, Business and Management. ID 278, Introduction to Risk Management. Most Active Micro-Credential. ID 129, Micro-Credential, Building Development Laws and Legislations. Best MOOC Award. Social Science and Humanities. ID 44, Introductory CADE. Best MOOC Award, Science and Technology. ID 255, Geotechnical Engineering. Best MOOC Award, Business and Management. ID 59, HTH 558, Professional etiquette for hoteliers. Most active MOOC. ID 140 Systematic Literature Review for All, a cool MOOC. Product Pitching Student Category. Third place goes to ID 293 Virtual Structured Tandem Language Course. Second place goes to ID 292 LADA, the Educational Apps on Piper Nigrum. And the winner for Product Pitching Student Category goes to ID 300 Intensive Structured International Foreign Language Course. Product Pitching Educator Category. Third place goes to ID 138 Let It Out Student Psychological and Emotional Well-Being Monitoring System. Second place goes to ID 308 Dedicated SPM Virtual Module for Non-Performing Students in Rural Areas. And the winner for Product Pitching Educator Category goes to ID 134 Gamifikasi Global Umrah Haji Game GUG dalam pengajaran dan pembelajaran. Congratulations to all winners. Before signing out, the complete list is up in the eCONDEV 2021 official website. To purchase additional medals, please visit the registration tab. Thank you all for being here today, bringing your awesome vibes and supporting eCONDEV 2021. And thank you for making this an excellent competition and celebration. See you all in eCONDEV 2022. Signing out. Bye.